It's 12 o'clock on Wednesday, and you know what time it is. It's time for the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM and on the internet. Coming up the week that was in the conference and the SWAC, also along with halftime show recap, and along with some other exciting things coming up on this week's show. Also, we have 3 special in-studio guests and more. That's coming up on the Melvin Spears Show alongside Travis Mills. I'm Ray Higgins, back for more of the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM and Way Back Wednesday. Okay, we're going to take a phone call right now at 278-274-4487 right now. Caller, what is your question for Coach Spears?
Okay, I would like to know why we do not use Larry Culligan more. It seems as though Saturday he was given the job taken care of, but he didn't look as much.
Well, actually, it boils down to a number of different situations, boils down to a number of things with respect to the system. And it's really a competition factor that goes on week in and week out. And certainly Larry had a real good drive there right at the end to get us started. But when you look at all the little things that was going on with the time clock, getting the plays in and things of that nature, he got a little frustrated there at one particular time. So we came back with Brandon Landers, simply because of the fact we was trying to settle them down. So it's a number of things that goes into making certain that those guys be able to participate at a high level. And when in fact they're frustrated about some of the things that they're getting, or they're not getting the signals, or just not even making the calls, we got to try to do the things that we can do in order to be successful.
We are taking your calls at 318-274-4487. Coach, kind of take us back through the locker room. You had a lot of, it was homecoming 2006. There were a number of alums in town, football players as well. Tell us about the number of people, alums that came by to speaking to the fellas in the locker room and things like that.
Well, it seemed like Grambling old, and one of the things that coming here, being here coming from 68 all the way up to now, Coach Robinson always welcomed all the guys who come back. We had an outstanding crowd, and I think our fans did an outstanding job by coming home to represent. But anytime you can have Tremaine Johnson, you can have Glover that came in, that was an outstanding tight end. You got Jerry Gordon, you got Mike Williams, and all the other guys that go. Porter, who's a wide receiver that coaches now up in Detroit. Man, I was just pumped up and elated just to have those guys here. And certainly I brought them into the dressing room, gave them an opportunity to talk to the fellas as well, to let them know that this is a serious affair when you talk about Grambling football, you talk about Grambling homecoming. And, we played up and down in the first half. We came out, we talked at halftime that we got to raise our game to another level. But our guys never really kicked it in, and we made a few other mistakes, and then we went in the tank. And in the end, we lost the football game.
I believe we have a caller. Caller, do you have a question for the coach?
Yes, I do. Yes, I was calling about our running game. I think that we should get our running game instituted because we can't win the Bayou Classic without a running game. That's so cliche, but it's true. So let's get our running game and get it started and hammer it down these next 2 weeks. That's it.
Well, the main thing is that about the running game, if you go back and look at it, we rushed the ball 29 times and threw the ball only 25 times in the ball game we had last week. Then you go back a little further. We've been a little bit more consistent across the board. We got to be able to maintain the running game in the third down situation. You can't come out on first down, you run the football, and you don't get for 1 yard, 9 seconds and 9. So the run game is basically dictated on how well we matriculate in the early downs to be able to consistently keep those drives alive on third down. If you go back to third down situation, we're still leading the whole conference in third down situation. So the defense kind of dictates for us to run the ball. We'll run the ball. But if they're going to put 8, 9 in the box, then we certainly not going to run the football. But I agree with you. It's not going to be just the running game that's going to win the Bayou Classic. It's going to be a consistent effort of playing Grambling football for 60 minutes, and that's being a balanced attack run, throwing the football, catching the football, tackling, punting the football, and all those things that goes in. You can run the football and still screw up on special teams like we did on Saturday and still lose the football game.
Coach, whenever we take a loss or whenever something goes wrong with the team, you always come in here and you take full responsibility for it. But a lot of things that people don't understand is that you can only call the plays. It's up to the players to perform correctly. So what do you think was the loss for the players?
Well, the thing is that it is ultimately it is my responsibility because we're really in a teaching mode with 18, 19-year-olds. I think we got some outstanding winners on our team that just hasn't won this year, but we're going to consistently work hard and do all the little things, the things that we're doing. At 1 minute we look like the LA Rams, and the next minute, we don't know where we come from. It's just a matter of concentration, just a matter of playing, and we got 3 weeks to get ready for the Bayou Classic, and that's basically what we're going to do. And we're going to come down there and we're going to play Tiger football, and Tiger football is 64 minutes all out, doing the little things that we talk about all the time, and I look forward to it.
You're listening to 91.5 KGRM, your black and gold station. Coach, I know from a viewer's standpoint in the stands, the team came out, they were live, they had a whole bunch of energy in the beginning, and as the game continued on, they got tired. You could see that they had lost a little bit of their luster in the game. What kind of happened to them, you think?
I kind of disagree with you. I didn't think they were very pumped up when they came out, because I noticed when they went down to say their prayers, they didn't jog back to the sideline. They walked back to the sideline. So it's all about being around your team, knowing your team, and then all of a sudden our kicker kicks the ball off. We got an outstanding kicker. And he squeals it. I turned to one of the coaches. I said, man, we're in for a long day. Just then, I knew I don't know what was prepared, but I'm saying if you got Tremaine Johnson here, you got Mike Williams, you got a full house, all your folks here, you can't help but be pumped up. And we came out a little flat. We fought in the first half, but we didn't raise our game to the next level in the second half.
We're taking your calls at 318-274-4487. We have a call on the line. Caller, with your question for Coach Spears.
Yes. My question is, at any time this year, do you think this team tried to take on a Bruce Eugene identity by having Bruce so involved in the offense and with the quarterback?
Absolutely not. If we had taken on a Bruce Eugene identity, we probably throw the ball 50 or 60 times. We have not done that. I think that the fact that having a guy there that can I coach the quarterbacks first and foremost, so Bruce really are relaying most of the stuff that either Coach White tells him or what I tell him, so let's get that out of the way. Secondly, I don't think our team even looks like Bruce Eugene. If our team looked like the Bruce Eugene team, the quarterback would be the leader, the quarterback would be making the calls, the quarterback would then in turn make all the different plays that a Bruce Eugene made. And on the flip side, from a defensive perspective, if our team had particularly totally took on a Jason Hatchett mode, Jermaine Mills, who made all the calls, who really was our quarterback on defense, and a Matt Dewar. So we have some guys that now all of a sudden were in a different role. They were the followers of that group last year. Now they are the individuals that has to be the leaders. And at some point in time is that we just haven't moved to another level with respect to leadership and things of that nature. But all we can do is keep working, and we're going to do that. And we have outstanding players. So it's just a matter of time before we do. It's always going to be a transition when you mess up that chemistry. And chemistry always comes from the fact that you got to have an outstanding quarterback. And our quarterbacks have been inconsistent, but they're outstanding. They're going to get better. Defensively, we come out and we do some things. Tim Abney hadn't played in a long time. Henry Talbot didn't play. Brian Langford has not played. Melvin Mathieu has not played. So you got a whole lot of other things that are going on that really you can't see from the stands or from an outside nature if you're not right there, because we're still missing a lot of guys. But at Grambling, you don't make excuses. The bottom line is you got to win football games. We have not won them, and I take responsibility for them. So we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready for these last two, particularly the next 3 weeks. We're going to win the Bayou Classic, and then we'll go on down and take care of Alcorn State, and then we're going to beat those bushes to get ready to do what we do best, recruit outstanding athletes.
We have another caller. Caller, do you have a question for the coach? Hello, caller. Coach, he talked about how, or you talked about how you have two outstanding quarterbacks, but none of them are trying to take Bruce Eugene's role. None of them are trying to be. What are you trying to instill in these players? You don't want them to be like Bruce. You want them to be their own player. So what are you mainly trying to instill in them?
Well, the quarterback position, basically what we want to do, we have an outstanding supporting cast with outstanding wide receivers. All we want them to do is basically let the supporting cast complement what they do. And basically the things that are going on is that take what the defense gives you. Don't do anything out of the norm of trying to win the ball game, trying to throw the ball over the top when you got two safeties and things of that nature. Just be patient and just let the game come to you. Sometimes you got younger guys, they get in the mode that they think they got to take the game over. So those are the things that we're talking about on a regular basis, and they're getting better, and they will continue to get better. The thing is that you got to play 60 minutes, but you got to play all phases of the ball game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And defensively did a pretty good job in the game. offensively, we kind of didn't do as well in special teams. We were just horrible, and we work on special teams hours and hours and hours trying to snap that ball back there, and then all of a sudden you get in a pressurized type setting, and our guys don't do very well. But we'll go back to work, and we've been working already.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM alongside Travis Mills. I'm Ray Higgins. We have a call. Caller, go ahead with your question for Coach Spears.
Coach Spears, good morning.
Good morning.
I was informed that the team spent Friday night in Monroe, Louisiana, that they were not fed. Also, that on the return trip back from Monroe on Saturday, they were stuck in traffic on I-20 at the Grambling exit, which led to the team getting off the bus and walking to the campus. I'd like to know if this is true, and if it is true, did it have an effect on the game?
No, first of all, that is not true, and secondly, it did not have an effect on the game, and thirdly, our bus drivers were waiting on our security, which is our police department, to come over. Our guys decided that they didn't want to wait for the police department, so they was going to walk on up the hill and get off the bus. So we really weren't stuck in traffic anywhere. We were stuck in traffic right here on campus. I don't know where I-20 started, but we moved up practice on Friday to 3:30, where our guys can get an opportunity to go out and leave and go to the cafeteria and eat before we left. We didn't leave campus until 7 o'clock after they had an opportunity to go to that allegation or rumor mill, whatever you got, was totally incorrect.
Okay, we have another caller. Caller, go ahead with your question.
Coach Spears, I was wondering, will we be healthy for Bayou Classic? All the guys you mentioned earlier, will any of them, most of them be back for Bayou Classic?
Well, hopefully Henry Talbot will be ready to go. I think we sent Tim Abney over to get his ankle re-x-rayed on yesterday, and Melvin Mathieu worked out a little bit on Saturday. Brian Langford is almost 100% to go along with Demetrius Carr still struggling with the strain MCL. So we're gonna have a couple guys that's banged up, but I think in this 3-week stand we'll get an opportunity to get them all back.
You are listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KJM. We do going to go to the phone lines today. Once again, caller, you have a question for Coach Spears.
Yes, I do. I'm calling from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've only missed one game this year, and I'm a pretty good Grambling supporter.
Thank you.
Coach Spears, at any point this season, I know everybody wants to be a Monday morning coach, but have you ever thought about changing your offense to like a process to take advantage of Al Quam?
Well, first of all, you got to go back and evaluate the kind of talent that you have. You got to evaluate the people that you have. No, hear me out. You ask the question, let me answer it. You got to evaluate the individuals that you have on your football team. If you go back to look at a regular pro set type offense, that means that you got to have an outstanding tight end. We have not had a tight end here in 10 years. We've been trying to get a tight end in here to participate for quite some time. When you use an offensive lineman, what those guys basically going to do is put 9 in the box and force you to do some other things. So that's what we run into, and that's the reason why we consistently try to run the ball in the red set when they give us a 30 look or they give us the number of guys in the box. If you got 6 in the box and you only got 5 to block, that means that you can't block all of them. But if you give you a 30 front, Alcorn does an outstanding job running the ball because ultimately we really want to have a balanced attack. So that's the reason why we're not in a pro set. Pro set means that you got to have an outstanding fullback in Ruben Mays, who's been hurt, that we have, and you got to have an outstanding tight end to go along with a pretty good offensive line. And you got to do a number of other things on the outside. That's going to force you to have 2 wide receivers in the ball game, which they're going to double off on the 2 wide receivers if you don't have an outstanding guy to go down the middle. The guy that we don't have is a tight end, and that's the reason why we don't run the ball in a 2-back set most of the time.
You are listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM. And when we come back, we're going to have a special in-studio guest to join us. You want to make sure to stay around for that one. And, of course, our Legends of the Past segment is coming up along with another in-studio guest. We'll be right back with more of the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM.
Welcome back to 91.5 KGRM. This is the Melvin Spears Show on Way Back Wednesday.
And we have a special in-studio guest, first-year coach Mark Crawley, soccer coach, just recently was named SWAC Coach of the Year and also guided her team to a SWAC championship in our, I think, 4th season. Coach, welcome to the Melvin Spears Show and welcome to Grambling.
Thank you.
Coach, tell us how you, tell us about a little bit about where you're from and give us a little background information on yourself.
Okay, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I started playing soccer when I was 3 years old. Started playing club when I was 11, and pretty much went from there. And I played at Baylor University, And from there, I started coaching at Texas Women's University, and then finally ended up here at Grambling State.
So you were involved in with soccer a long time ago. How did your parents get you involved with soccer? Is it something that you saw and you just wanted to get involved with?
All little kids want to be involved in soccer. It helps with coordination things. My older brother, both older brothers, actually played soccer, so pretty much wanted to follow their footsteps.
Okay, how did you come to be at Grambling?
Actually, I was working at Texas Women's University, and then I was working at the Edge Extreme, an indoor facility, and was still on the coaching scene, but then I felt like maybe I needed another opportunity, and our president athletic director, Mathieu, called me and said, do you know of anybody who wants to be a soccer coach? And I was like, well, hey, might as well. I was like, I'm still at Texas Women's, and he was like, well, would you be up for it? And I was like, well, let me talk to my family about it, and then we went from there.
Okay.
Well, Coach, I'd just like to take this opportunity to congratulate you guys. That's what Grambling is all about, winning championships, and certainly you guys have come in and done an outstanding job, and we look forward to do outstanding in the NCAA and get ready to get back on the road and get ready for next year. The question I pose, when you had an opportunity to come in the Grambling, you looked at the legacy and the history, what is your outlook just on Grambling as a whole for being here for maybe two or 3 months?
Good question. I mean, my parents are from Baton Rouge, so the whole historically black college thing I was used to. Just the outlook is just to keep the legacy going, to have the foundation that they've already set, and to keep building from there.
Coach, you had a slow start for the season. Didn't do too well. Was that the team gelling together, getting your coaching style and implemented? Was that part of the situation?
Yes, it definitely was. We actually had a formation, unlike what they had last year. So them getting used to me yelling, instructing them on the field was definitely a part of it. Now we finally got everything together and won the swag. Well,
the one thing, Coach, you got to admit, you come into a new situation, and we were kind of talking about early on. We had Bruce Eugene and all those guys that kind of gelled together. Just to kind of talk about how important it is a lot of times for your team to, you start one way, but in time when you start working with them and start molding, that chemistry is more important sometimes than just having certain players on your team.
Yeah, the girls are really close on and off the field, and starting off with on the field, they had to understand that I'm putting people out there who are going to produce, and in college, that's what it's about. And the chemistry, I had to move people around a lot and new positions, and they weren't kind of used to that. But I was letting them know, if you can dribble, you can pass, you can shoot, you can play anywhere on the field. So the chemistry part, like I say, in the beginning it was a little rough, and we started finally working things out, getting our confidence up, and it definitely helped us out in the long run.
Coach, who would you say are the leaders for the soccer team this year?
Well, I have two captains, Ashley Durison for sure, and Natasha Nzikor. She definitely is a strong person on the team, on and off the field, as well as academically.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM. Our in-studio guest is Tamura, Crawley, SWAC Coach of the Year, soccer coach, and getting ready to go to the NCAA. Tell us about your feelings about that. When you won the tournament, take us back to the overtime win against Alabama A&M.
Oh, man. It was probably one of the most exhilarating wins I think I've ever had as a coach or a player. Overtime, it was crazy. We were going back and forth, going all over the place. They were taking shots on us. We were taking shots on them. When we finally got the win, everybody cleared the bench. We sprinted on the field, hugging, crying. It was just a great feeling. And now the NCAAs.
Outstanding.
What were you talking about, when you were going at halftime? Tell us about how the mood was during halftime and your halftime speech to the young ladies.
It was high because we were up 1-0, and Alabama A&M is a phenomenal team. Skill-wise, they're very technical. So they were pretty much running us all over the field. We got an early goal, which definitely helped us out in the end. Everything was pretty much positive at halftime. Now, during the second half, on the other end, things started to change once they scored a goal on us.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM. Coach Crawley, you said it was 1-1, and then it went into overtime. How were your players' mentality and enthusiasm around that time?
They were very drained, mentally, physically. It was a long season, and I was just telling them, we didn't come all this way, 8-hour bus ride, to miss homecoming, not to walk away with nothing. So I kind of put that in their head, and I was like, you guys, all we have is 10 minutes. You can put the game away early, or we can play another 20 minutes. So it was more just mentality for me to be like, be strong, stay confident, we can win.
Take us back to the goal-winning, the game-winning goal.
Oh, Natasha, I think we had turned the ball over, and then Kiana Collins had got a foul called on her, and we transitioned back from defense to offense, and Natasha had the ball on the right side, about 20 yards outside. She just ripped the shot with her right foot to the side netting, which is very hard to do in soccer, and as soon as I saw the ball hit the side of the net, I just took off on the field. I was so excited. I didn't even wait at all.
Now, getting ready after the win, you had time to let it all sink in. Did you start thinking about who you're going to be playing or that thing, or were you just in a moment?
I was in a moment until we found out yesterday on a selection show. Just trying to let it all sink in, let the girls enjoy this time. I didn't want them to, be worried about the things in the future. We need to let the moment sink in right now.
Okay, after the moment sank in, you were sitting in front of the TV, I take it, and came across who you were playing. What was going through your mind? Take us through the whole process.
Well, we had a selection show, a little get-together at the Catholic Center. And, I mean, the girls are just there. We were just having a good time, trying to relax, and they were really excited, thinking we were going to be able to go to California or to Florida. And luckily, we ended up going to Texas A&M. So when they saw that our name popped up next to Texas A&M, I pretty much knew Texas A&M was a strong team. Nationally, they were top 6, I think. So I knew we were going to stay regional and not have a chance to go off to the East Coast or West Coast.
Okay, you're familiar with Texas A&M. You played in a facility that you were going to be playing in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we at Baylor I played 4 years, so got a chance to play against Texas A&M. Actually, their coach recruited me when I was in high school, so I know what type of player he's looking for. I know what type of player he has on his team. It's going to be a very hard game, and I told them mentally, we're not laying down for anybody. Yeah, they're nationally ranked, and they're a great team, but we're here, and we're going to come ready to play.
But the other thing we got to remember, we are Grandin, so
Exactly.
Therefore it doesn't really matter who they bring on. We're going to come out and play Tiger-like, is what if you want to call it that.
So, Coach, you going to get these girls, young ladies, ready to play a tough Texas A&M squad. What is your practice schedule like now?
Well, due to the light that we have, pretty much it's 4 until it gets dark. And when I can't see the balls anymore and when they can't see the balls, pretty much we're just running, just same thing, possession, trying to hold the ball. If we lose the ball, then we have to get it back. In practice, they know my famous line is 10 and 10. And anytime they hear that, or it's 20 pyramid, they know they're in trouble. So.
Well, the thing is, Coach, if you need to be in the Tiger Stadium, it's always there. You don't have to worry about the lights going out, Coach. Hey, we trying to get ready for the money, so if you need to be down there, all you got to do is say the word.
Okay.
What is the 20? What that phrase you mean?
20-20 or 10 and 10 is 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, right there on the spot. So if you get hit with the ball, oh well, get up or move to the side. But I'm pretty much ruthless when it comes to that. You make a mistake, 20 and 20.
Now, I had a chance to meet you when you first came in, and you were getting familiar with surroundings, and then you were telling me about the workout schedule, and like we're gonna be running. Tell us how it started off. What's a Tamura Crawley team like?
Very well conditioned. I don't like my players to be milking over for cramps, to be tired during the game. Mentally, I can't help that at some point. I can't teach hard, but I can just show them my confidence. But we run, and we'll keep running, and I just want to make sure that we are better conditioned than the other teams.
Okay, you're gonna have like 3 or 4 seniors coming up, so you're gonna be looking for some players pretty soon. How well have the seniors contributed to the team this year?
Oh, definitely well. Ashley Durson in the back. Oh, she's been a huge leader in the back, helping man my defense. Isabel Michia on the outside has been doing really well also. Just trying to keep their spirits high because I know they're leaving and things like that, but they definitely have contributed through the whole season.
What kind of player are you looking for when you go out for recruiting and things like that? What's a Tamura Crawley player like?
Somebody who is tenacious, that's for sure. I don't like weak people. I can't have them in my program. I just don't have time to teach people that. You don't have the heart, you don't have the tenacity, I can't use you. So skill-wise, definitely looking for that. Forwards, I need goal scorers. outside Mezzanine people who are well conditioned and just have the heart to come out and play Division I soccer.
Coach, we've heard Coach Spears talk about what his pregame preparation for the team and things is for. What is your preparation for the soccer team like?
Well, usually the night before we'll have a good hearty meal, usually pasta, so Olive Garden, macaroni grill, things like that. Nice food. And then we'll have a meeting in my room just to go over everything that we need to go over for the team. In the morning we usually get up, have a nice light jog, stretch, eat a good breakfast. They have a chance to relax, go back to bed if they want to, and then we have study hall time, and then it's pretty much time to get ready for the game.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM. My special in-studio guest, SWAC Coach of the Year and Coach of the 2006 SWAC Soccer Champions. Yay, Coach Crawley. We're going to go to the phone lines, and Crawley, you have a question for Coach Spears or Coach Crawley?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to know why the offense did not take what the defense gives.
Well, systematically, I don't think that's a real adequate question, because that's our philosophy. If you know anything about Tiger football, we've been here for 10 years now. We've been outstanding on offense, and we've always taken what the defense gives us. The one thing you got to understand about young people when they're dealing, they got to consistently understand that fact of what you just said. We teach that on a regular basis of taking what they give you. Don't try to force the issue, but you got emotions and things of that nature. When you're talking about guys playing at a high level, certainly it takes a little bit more time than normal. If you go back and look at it, we've always been that way. We've been the team that have led scoring, total offense for the last 10 years, and really our quarterbacks have really been up and down, and we still the best offense in the conference, and we really have not played Grambling-type football. So we certainly teach that on a regular basis, and constantly are telling them and constantly calling plays that basically going to take what the defense gives us. And a coordinated scheme like we have, all those things are built in. You just got to consistently be able to make those calls if you're in the quarterback position.
Carl, I understand you have another question. Go ahead.
Yes, one other question. Grambling is known for their aggression and blitzes sometimes with their linebackers. I don't see that now. Why?
Well, the thing is that you got to understand the schematics of the whole scheme. You can't blitz guys when you got defensive backs that are hurt. You got guys that can't run or match up with the guys that you're playing against. So you got to kind of do some things that are basically going to make all of them successful, opposed to sticking them out on the corners. When we got all our guns there, you see an aggressive type style where we blitz and do all those things and play a lot of cover one. And teams are trying to spread us out real thin, and then you got to be able to put pressure on guys. We got Melvin Mathieu, who's a big defensive lineman that are down to go along with number 94, Otis Young, who's not playing as well. So when you think about all the things that you just said, you got to take in consideration of the entire ball game, just not one portion of the ball game, what you're accustomed to doing. At Grambling, we're accustomed to winning championships. Unfortunately, right now, we're in a dogfight to get ready for the Bayou Classic. That's basically what we're going to do, take them one day at a time. And certainly, it won't take long, because at Grambling, you don't rebuild, you reload. We will reload it.
We're going to have to take a break, but we'll be right back here on Way Back Wednesdays on 91.5 KGRM with the Melvin Spears Show. Welcome back to the Melvin Spears Show on Way Back Wednesday on 91.5 KGRM, your black and gold station. This week was homecoming. A lot of great things went into it, a lot of great events, a lot of beautiful things happened. Coach, did you go to any of the events, or did you take part in any of the events that went on? Okay.
Well, the thing about being the head coach at Grambling, we try to do some things that are basically going to be conducive to the alumni. I had a chance to see a bunch of those, a bunch of folks around. Went to the quarterback club, but the main thing I don't have any hobbies. All I do is football. That's certainly what I do 24/7. Enjoy, have a great time, and it was just excellent to see all the faces back there. I continue to welcome all the former players back up. We move into a new direction, and certainly all the things that we got going on around it, all the progress you see, all the dirt that we are moving to go along with our outstanding facility. We got to keep upgrading, keep getting the pictures of all the guys that need to go up there, and keep honoring those outstanding players. We got a little treat that we're going to talk about on next week for the home game. Some guys that we're going to honor who I think is doing an excellent job for us. So we look forward to it.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KGRM 91.5 FM. We're taking your calls at 318-274-47 from across the country and locally. Caller, you have a question for Coach Spears. Go ahead.
That's Coach Spears, I've just been informed that we haven't lost to a 1AA team in 2 years to the extent we lost Alabama State. And 2 years ago, that was Alabama State's homecoming. Is that true?
Well, that probably is true, but if you go back, you want to talk about 80 years of football. You know, the first year Coach Robinson had the team, he didn't win a ball game. The next year he came back and he went unscored upon untied. If you go back and think about a 57-year career, it's only been 2 times that they've gone undefeated, 1942 and 1955. So I think it's all relative with respect to whether or not you win or lose. The main thing for us is to get them ready for Saturday and come down and bring an outstanding product. I don't get tied up in numbers. I get tied up in trying to make certain that our team is going to be productive and they understand the great legacy and all the great players that have participated here that was set forth by Eddie Robinson. And that's really what it really boils down to. The thing is that in 80 years of Grambling football, I think we've done outstanding. In the last 4 out of 6 years, y'all still need to remember that we won the national championship 4 out of those 6 years. And certainly at some point in time, we got to keep working. And one of these years just so happened we hadn't played very well. But the main thing is that Grambling's program is in outstanding shape. We got outstanding players, and we're going to keep trying to get them ready.
You have questions for the coach? We're taking all of your questions. Caller, do you have a question?
Yes, this is just a comment for Coach Spears. I would like to say and congratulate you for playing 2 quarterbacks the way you're doing, because for so many times in the past, there's only been 1 quarterback that has played. And, you know, this is much diversity. And also, I would just like to commend you on all that you are doing for the team, and we just certainly appreciate what you're doing for us. And I know that you have surprises for Southern, so we're looking forward to that win.
I sure appreciate it, and we certainly going to be ready to go when we come to New Orleans. The thing is that our main objective is to win football games, but our platform is to get them ready to go to corporate America and be outstanding citizens. I think we're doing a good job with that. We're doing a good job academically. We're going to keep working hard to make certain that we make all the G-men proud of us when we come down to New Orleans.
We're taking your questions and comments at 318-274-4487. That's 318-274-4487. Caller, you have a question?
Yes. I'd like to hear Coach Spears, first of all, for his 3 years at the head coach's spot. My question is, or my comment is, we only had 3 home games this year scheduled. Well, actually 4, but they picked the Pine Bluff game up to Arkansas. And I thought this played a big part on the student body getting behind the team. It wasn't until the 7th game that we had a home game. You had the incoming freshmen coming in, looking forward to the football season. Other than just the education, they were looking forward to the football season. And I think this hindered our home support behind our team, getting them started on a good start. Your comment on that, sir?
No, I don't think so, because you got to look at it from a number of different ways. You got to look at it from a revenue standpoint. The one thing about you got to understand that being in the major revenue sport, we have to look at the big picture. And I thought we kind of time-tagged it pretty good, because if you think about the Jackson State football game, we had 18,000 plus. You look at homecoming, we had 18,000 plus. Certainly, I think our fans kind of suffered, but the thing about it is everybody keeps forgetting. You come to Grambling to see the world. That's always been our recruiting pitch. If you go for 57 years, Coach Eddie Robinson has taken us all over. And I'm not saying that we're trying to be like Eddie Robinson. All I'm saying is that we have a reputation to uphold throughout the world. You know, Grambling is internationally known, so we certainly trying to get some flavor to everyone, but we also got to try to balance the budget on a regular basis. Our fans showed up for the 2 ball games. We'll see how they do when all comes here, and then we'll make some adjustments. And it really boils down to our season ticket holders. You know, if you're talking about season ticket holders, we got 10,000 season ticket holders. We'll have 5, 6, 7 ball games here, but until we get to those factors, we got to do things in order to make money to keep our institution over, and that's really what it boils down to.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show. We're going to go right back to the phone lines. Crawley, do you have a question for Coach Spears?
Yeah, Coach, one key decision that was made during that game was early in the 3rd quarter, about 10 minutes left. It was about, I believe it was 4th and 8, on the 40-yard line, in which you made the decision to go for it on the 1st down instead of punting the ball, being down by 3 points, only being down by 3. You made the decision to go for it, and as a result, you didn't get it, and it led to, I guess, what would become a series of events that kind of widened the deficit. Can you explain the decision to go for the first down at that point?
Absolutely. If you know a great deal about me, if you go back over time and all the national championships that we've won, we've always been riverboat gamblers, and certainly we play to win. And we don't come in, we don't play scared, and I don't make excuses when we lose. The bottom line is that if we're gonna play an up-tempo type game the way we play, we were having problems with both of our snappers. So certainly when you're talking about both, we'll rather try to get them to go 40 yards opposed to give it to them down there on the 1 yard line where it puts the defense in disarray. So certainly the fact that we were struggling with our snappers at that particular time, we decided to go for it because we thought we had a better chance to make them go 40 yards opposed to let them snap the ball over his head. And they really were a little uneasy, and we've worked on it over and over and over. Jason Banks came in, and he didn't do as good a job. We brought in the other young man, Evan, to see whether or not he could get it done. And we went back to the drawing board just on yesterday to work on that portion of the game. But it really boils down to what's going to put our team in the best situation. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are not per what you normally would do under normal circumstances. If the snapper was snapping it like he normally snapped it, certainly we'd have punted the ball, but he wasn't. And it showed in the first half where we snapped it over his head twice. So we had to do some things to try to make certain that we could be successful. And in the end, they scored a touchdown. The bottom line is that gave us the best shot to do what we need to do, either make them go long or give it to them right away.
Yeah, Crawley, do you have we're going to go to the phone lines again. I think there's another caller on the line. Crawley, go ahead with the question.
Coach, you mentioned about the financial aspect earlier. Is it lucrative for us to participate in the White MEAC Challenge on Labor Day weekend versus playing Alcorn State at home?
Absolutely. You're talking about now to be a little bit more explicit about what our ticket sales factors were. We only had 1,700. So when you look at 1,700 season ticket holders, you got to wait for folks to come in, when in fact you can put $250 in your pocket and they pay for you to come over and you don't spend a dime, and your players get an opportunity to get all kinds of gifts that's going to upgrade the college experience. Certainly it was more advantageous to do that than play here at home at that particular time.
You are listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KJRM 91.5 FM. Our special in-studio guest again, I should say not again, but our special in-studio guest is the new athletic director of Grambling State University, Mr. Troy Mathieu. Troy, I'd like to welcome our listeners to introduce our listeners to you and give us a little bit of background about Troy Mathieu.
Thank you, Ray. My pleasure being on the show today. A little background on me. I started on June 19th. Most recently, I moved from the Dallas area where I was the athletic director for the Dallas Independent School District. Prior to that, I did some marketing with the Chamber of Commerce in Dallas, some sports marketing, and prior to that I was executive director of the Nokia Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, where I worked there for 9 years.
Okay, Coach, I'll call you by the coach. Troy, the athletic director's job, what is the athletic director's job responsibility?
Well, first of all, it's not to coach. It's to support the coaches and make sure they have the tools that they need to do their job, and that is to coach. Our job, I call it, is eliminating all of the excuses that coaches can give you for them not being successful. And in many, in every program I've ever been in around athletics, when you talk to coaches, the first thing, many of them will tell you is, we don't have this, we don't have that. My job is if I can eliminate all of the what we don't have, then you can concentrate on coaching and allowing those student athletes to be trained up to achieve the highest levels in their particular sport. So that's the simplest form of what my job is to take all of the other burdens off of the coaches so that they can concentrate on coaching.
Okay, do you have I know you had to hire some coaches when you first got here. Tell us about the process of going looking for coaches once you arrived.
Yes, well, I started with a very methodical process of trying to get the best possible coaches we could get for every individual sport. I mean, I've seen even around the SWAC where for some of the spring sports, the softballs, the soccers, sometimes they look around campus and find someone who might have played that sport in high school, and all of a sudden they're coaching that school, that university's Division I program. I'm not going to do that as long as I'm at Grambling. I mean, unless I'm ordered to. We went out and tried to find people who were experts in their field, who had track records of success, who had been in winning programs. If you've never been around winning, it's hard to come here and expect me to demand that they win at Grambling. So we went after, and I think the first coach we hired ended up being Coach Crawley, the soccer coach, Tamura, who I think was on the show a little earlier. And, you know, she had an excellent soccer background, was a 4-time all-conference performer at Baylor in the Big 12, had coached at the college level for 2 years at Texas Women's University. And when we had the opportunity to hire someone with her background who is an excellent role model for our young ladies, we pounced on it and brought her to Grambling, and it's paid off already with big dividends with a SWAC championship and an NCAA tournament bid. We then brought in Barrett Ray and Wilbert Early. Both of them happened to come from Southern University, and I know sometimes that's a bad word around this campus. But what I looked at was the pool of applicants we had in front of us. I was then charged with the task of bringing the best possible qualified person to Grambling to direct our students. And we found both of them. They just happened to be in Baton Rouge when we offered the job to Coach Barrett Ray. We then concentrated on the softball job. Wilbert Early and the Southern has done a phenomenal job as the lead assistant at Southern. And I think that was, you know, 2 great hires. We also then had to hire a sports information department. When I arrived, there was no one in the sports information office. And we feel that the head vacancy with Ryan McGinty from Prairie View A&M, very experienced. He came to us highly recommended. A lot of my friends in the SWAC, when I called to get just references, and they all came to the same name. You need to go and get Ryan. And he's doing an outstanding job. He's finally got his legs under him with a lot of responsibilities. So we've all but caught up on all the hiring. We're fixing to name a tennis coach here pretty soon to take over for Philippe Carter, who left to go to law school in August. So things are going well on the hiring front. I'm just looking now to get out of the HR business and the human resource hiring business so I can start being the AD more and concentrating on going to the games and rooting on our teams.
You're listening to 91.5 KGRM, your black and gold station. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, what's your question?
Yes, I have a question or comment for the athletic director. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate him on his first year at Grambling State University. And we have a problem with concession stand. It's just not adequate enough to accommodate the people. Spears, we had 18,000 people at the last 2 games apiece, and the concession stands are just not adequate enough. People are standing in line 30 to 40 minutes to get a bag of potato chips or soda or pop or something. And I know it's a problem that you've had at Grambling. I would like to know if you would address this problem and try to alleviate the problem in the future.
Well, it's a real problem. That's what I do most of the game. I don't go to the box much. I travel around the stadium trying to see what's going on, and it is a real issue. I've met with the head concessionaire. There's good food. It's just the way those stands are built. They're really not designed right now to handle large numbers of people at critical times in the game. I've looked at it. There are some things we're going to do. It probably won't be implemented until next season. One of the tremendous disadvantages I had in getting in here kind of late and having never experienced a home football game at Grambling before was I didn't have the experience in how we handle crowds and how we process those lines quickly. It's something we're going to do a better job with, but right now it is a bottleneck. It is a real issue. I've talked to Tracy, I'm trying to think, what's Tracy Smith? Tracy Smith. She and I met for about 2 hours before the first home game, and she had a great plan. I think her plan is sound. It's just the way the stands are physically built. We've got to come up with some better ways to process the line. We've got to get some drink-only lines going on different ends of the stadium so that if you just want a drink or a packaged food, you don't have to wait on them to mix nachos or make a hot dog. So we're going to improve that. I would just ask that you just give me a little chance. I've had about 10 to 12 years experience in handling lines from the Superdome, where we're with the Sugar Bowl, and it's an issue at every facility, every venue. In fact, most of the new venues they're building right now, they're building 4 and 5 concession stands on one side of the on each, like on the home side, so you can process the lines quicker. It's not an easy answer. We've tried to hire hawkers to hawk the stands. They're hard to find. We don't have a lot of people that's willing to work on game days. Our students want to go and enjoy the game. So it's a tough little task, but it's something we're going to overcome and make it better. But if you go to the line 2 minutes before the half, I'm telling you, you're going to have to wait any stadium you go at in America.
Athletic director, is it a 9 to 5 job or is it a 24-hour job? Is it something you got to do all day, every day?
Well, I've never seen the way I work it is not 9 to 5. I mean, it's whenever you get done, when your body wears out, to save a little bit of energy to be able to drive home, because it's always different things that you've got to work on and prepare for when you've got 18 intercollegiate sports. And at the 1AA level, you don't have a large staff of administrators where you can delegate. When you look around to delegate, you end up doing it yourself. It's not a problem. I've never been afraid of hard work. So no, it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not the profession to get in if you're looking for banker's hours.
We are taking your question and comments here on the 91.5 KGRM. Caller, do you have a question?
Yes. I want to say to Mr. Mathieu, don't worry about not knowing how large the crowds get at homecoming. At least you admit yours. Other people don't admit theirs. The traffic was horrible too, and perhaps some Grambling people could have helped with it, but were not asked.
Well, one of the things is that I know Mr. Matthews overall, we've talked consistently with our police chief and a number of other individuals about making certain that we look at all the different ways we can get traffic to and from. The construction really posed a major problem for us, but I can assure you in time that we're going to look at the entire situation, look at it and come up with some kind of layout to make certain that we can get folks in and out of the campus a little faster.
You're listening to the Melvin Spears Show on KJR. We're going to go to the phone lines for your questions and comments. Do you have a caller? Do you have a question, caller?
Oh, yes. I'm calling. I'm listening to the show. I've attended to the ball game this season. My question to the athletic director is about the scoreboard. When is that? Are you still looking at that? Because it's really what looks like, and what really an 8 is, what I think of, it looks like a 0 sound is an 8. Like looking at the scoreboard, like the clock.
Well, ideally, in reference to the scoreboard, ideally, in a perfect world, I'd like to tell you we're going to go out and buy a $700,000-$800,000 video board. It's going to take some serious fundraising. It's on our radar screen, and it's something that we're going to address. I would just tell you from my end, it is not the top priority for us because we have some other things that I'd like to do that would benefit all of our student athletes, like an indoor activity center where I would say over the past 2 weeks, Coach Spears' football team has probably missed 4 to 5 workout days because the field is too wet and soggy to get any work done, and they're practicing in a gymnasium. And you've got high schools across this country that have $3, $4, $5 million complexes where they don't miss work time because it rains. So I'd like us to be one of the first 1AA programs to put one of those facilities down, and in my priority list, I'd have that ahead of a scoreboard simply because it would benefit not only football but all of our programs, from soccer to the band to baseball and softball can take infield practice in this facility, and all summer long we can bring students to our campus in various camps, from football camps to passing camps, 7-on-7 camps, band camps. You can have all kind of academic camps in this type of facility. So that's one of the things that I go to sleep at night figuring out my plan on getting it done. The scoreboard, there is another. There are several ways we're looking at getting that paid for. There are 2 companies out there that can take on the project and do all of the fundraising for you and get that board up. So we're looking at some options to put some state-of-the-art technology into the stadium.
We're going to go to the phone lines for our last call of the show. Caller, what is your question for Coach Spears or Troy Mathieu?
This question for either the AD or the coach. As far as the 07 schedule goes, we haven't had on the tentative schedule, I didn't notice the second out-of-conference opponent yet. Is there any plans for that, or are we going to start seeing double bye week before Bayou Classic? And also, are you guys in favor of the 9-game mandate?
Well, first of all, the double situation that we have right now really wasn't a situation that we weren't, and we didn't want. We tried to move Alcorn up to the 3rd week. They decided that they really didn't want to play us, so that kind of where we didn't have an opportunity to move everybody down. Right now, I think we've already got Pittsburgh intact, and we're talking to a number of other schools that basically we can fill that day. We're really not in favor of this whole thing with respect to having all this time out. And from a head coach's perspective, I'm in favor of the 7-man format simply because of the fact it gives us a little bit more latitude to make a little bit more revenue and allow our students to get a little bit more exposure in a number of different areas that I know Grambling can go and make money in.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. If you have any questions for Troy Mathieu or AD, you can go to gsutigers.com, and there's a segment on there called Ask the AD, and he returns your emails if you leave an email address, so be sure to take care of that. For Coach Spears, Coach Crawley, my co-host Travis Mills, and our illustrious board operator, operations manager, the diva, Miss West and Miss Joyce Evans. I'm Ray Higgins. Join us again next Wednesday for the Melvin Spears Show, 12 to 1, right here on KGRM 91.5 FM.